You're watching Dumas ISD TV.
They're going to throw it down the middle. They have Johnny Marquez open. He's at the 40 of Canyon. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. Johnny Marquez will score. What an answer for the Dumas Demons.
A one-play answer, no less.
He's back to pass. He's looking downfield. Now he throws it down the middle. Dumas is there with an interception. And that's Johnny Marquez with the ball coming back toward the Dumas sideline. That may be, is it Johnny?
Yes.
All right, and he's at the 20, and he finally gets thrown out of bounds at the 18-yard line. Back to pass is Mills. He throws it across the middle. Has a receiver open. It's going to be caught. Back to pass is Mills. They throw it back to Escarcega. He on a screen play. I think he's in for the score. Yes. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Back to pass. He's looking deep downfield. He's throwing it deep downfield. Has a receiver open. It's going to be caught into Canyon territory. Here comes a man in motion back to the left, but they're going to hand it to Eduardo. He has a big opening. He's in for the score. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Eduardo Hernandez. He's back to pass. Here comes a blitz. He steps up into the pocket, and now he throws it down the middle looking for Emino Marquez. He has it! He has it on the 1-yard line.
I think it's touchdown.
Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Here comes a receiver back to the right. Colton takes it, rolls to the right, throws it. It's going to be Coley on the catch. 2nd down and 1. Back to pass is Colton. He throws it over to the Canyon sideline. It's caught, thrown out of bounds. Back to pass is Mills. He's going to throw it down the middle, looking for Emino. He grabs it. What a catch! He's at the 40. He's at the 30. 20. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. 85-yard pass and catch. Here's the snap. Lopez is going to roll left. He's going to throw it down the middle, and it's going to be picked off. Emino Marquez. Back to pass is Mills. He's going to step up, throw it deep down the middle, looking for something, and it's caught. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Mills is going to take it back to pass, look left, steps up into the pocket. He has a running room. He only has one man to beat, and he is going to be down, I believe, at the 1-yard line. To the right, he's back to pass, and they're going mano, Johnny Gutierrez, and I think he has it.
Incredible.
Touchdown, Johnny Gutierrez.
What a catch. He was double teamed.
Back to pass is Colton Mills. He escapes the rush. Now he throws it downfield. It's going to be caught, and that's going to be Coley, and he's in for the score. Touchdown, Dumas Demons. Saying there's 2 seconds on the clock. This will be the last play of the game.
O-line got blocked out.
39-yard field goal. Here we go. Zamarippa ready to go. There's the snap. The kick's on the way, and the kick is... It's good!
We did it! We beat him, baby!
Yes,
Let's
sir.
go!
Yes,
Send
sir.
them home! Send them home! Let's go!
That's just like what they won last year.
That's exactly like it.
Oh, yeah.
What a senior night in Demon Stadium.
You're watching Dumas ISD TV.
All right, welcome to Game 2, Week 2 of the Coaches Show with head football coach of the Dumas Demons, Aaron Dunnam. I'm Zane Powers. Coach Stone, good to have you.
Thank you, Zane. Appreciate you having me.
Good to have you on your own show. How
Yes,
about
sir.
that?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Demons come off of a big win on opening night for them, 42-7 over Caprock.
We did a good win. You know, always anytime that you can get you a victory, it's a good thing. And I thought we played a pretty clean game. You know, -2 series there early. You know, we fumbled the first play of the game offensively, and then didn't get off the field on a third down, and then a mix up at the secondary there as well, and ended the first quarter 7-7. But after that, I thought we played a pretty clean game. I thought penalty wise and execution wise was pretty clean. I thought we executed on all three phases of the game, and so really proud of our effort from our kids and coming out on top against Caprock.
Well, breaking it down a little bit, you outgained Caprock 306 to 93. I felt like Caprock was stacking the box a little bit. They wanted to force us to beat them in another way besides the rush, but you still managed to rush for 108 yards.
Sure.
I thought, again, in a game where somebody's stacking the box against you, Johnny Marquez was adequate.
Sure.
He only gained 47 yards, but he really didn't run the ball a whole lot. But he'd have 2 touchdowns on the few carries that he did.
Sure. And I just and sometimes that's deceiving a little bit from our first 2 scrimmages. He broke off some really big long runs, and so I think that's maybe what we were expecting. And that's not always what you're going to get. I thought we still grounded out on the ground pretty good. A question mark coming in the season still early was just our offensive line gelling. I thought our offensive line played really hard. We weren't always exactly where we needed to be, but our effort was really good, and so we can coach that up and get us on the right spot. I thought we were a little out of control at times, but playing really hard, and so that was good to see. And then 300 plus yards of offense, is a good night. Colton was able to move around in the pocket a little bit. They did pressure us like I thought they would, but we were able to, I do like that about the game. In the scrimmages, we're quick whistles on the quarterback.
Sure.
A lot of times when pressure's coming, we blow the whistle. That's not always true. A lot of times, which we saw in the game, and he can step up in the pocket, he can move from that rush and that pressure and still deliver the ball down the field, and he did for some really big plays down the field, and so we're excited about that. I thought James Coley was really good on offense, made some great plays, 2 touchdown catches. And so really liked where we were at and how we played offensively.
Let's talk a little bit more about those guys. First, with Colton, the sophomore quarterback, he was 9 of 14, very efficient, 176 yards. So, pushing 20 yards per reception there, and with the 3 touchdowns.
I thought he was effective. I thought he managed our offense like he needed to, and very effective. Maybe not the flashy numbers that you're wanting, but I don't know that we're ever that way.
Sure.
We do spread the ball around. You've seen that every time with our Dumas offense. Is that we're not going to rely on one guy. We really spread the football around. I think I talked earlier in the week, just about a bunch of guys that touch the football. We've got 3 and 4 tailbacks that touch the football, and we spread it around amongst our receivers. And so was excited about the way that Colton played. I thought it was really good for his first night out, starting his sophomore season.
I don't have it sitting in front of me, but I'm pretty sure there were 8 different guys that caught the ball. And I want to say there may have been 6 different guys that ran the ball.
Sure.
7 if you count Blake picking up the fumble and
Exactly.
running for a first down.
Sure.
But the other guy, you've mentioned him, James Coley, 4 catches, 94 yards. 2 of those catches go to the house.
Played really well. The one that I really look at is right before half.
Yes.
My
goodness.
It really wasn't intended for that. We were really trying to get the ball out fast and get out of bounds and maybe gain 10 yards and try to kick a long field goal. But the play broke down a little bit, took longer than we wanted to, and so when he did catch the ball, there was no reason to get out of bounds because the time had already expired, and he just really made some good plays and got down the sideline, so we score, we kick the extra point, we jog in for halftime, so that was a really good play.
There was about 3 different times where it looked like, he's going to get – they're going to have him right here, and the athletic – just kicked in with him, and he made some moves.
Sure.
There.
And his, he's deceiving a lot of times with his speed. James, another kid that, as I'll talk a lot about as a kid in the offseason that really worked his tail off in track and ran really well for us and has improved his speed. And it's a little it's deceptive at times on the field, but, his athleticism and his will to get in the end zone was pretty neat there.
What's interesting about James, I look back to his older brother, Hunter, and I think going into his senior season, you guys knew that Hunter was a good athlete, but he turned that into being an incredible football player. I think did he lead the state in interceptions?
He did.
And I think James is kind of poised. He comes in leading the team right now in like career receptions and yards coming in. So he's the leading receiver coming in. but he could have a really special season as a senior.
He could, as you talk about him on offense, and we'll talk here in a minute. But he was really good on defense as well.
Yes.
Minus one play. I'm not going to let him get away with that because he knows better and he expects it out of himself. Busted one in coverage there, but then beyond that. We've challenged him to really, as a two-way player, and I don't know, maybe where his desires might be a little bit more on the offensive side. I don't know that, but we've really challenged him to be the player that we think he can be on defense, and he's really, through the scrimmages and last week in the game, he's really, accepted that challenge and played really, really well on the defense side of the football as well.
Another guy that is just going to be electric all season on offense, Seminole Marquez. He only had 2 catches, but 55 yards and a touchdown.
Big play guy. Emily's just a super talented kid playing both ways. I think he shows you every time that he does touch the football that something really good can happen. And so really proud of him and his efforts, and just look forward to seeing. I mean, you're going to see him touch the football in a lot of different ways. He was really good in the return game as well. But again, just a very, very talented football player and somebody that we really count on a lot.
It's hard to say in a 42-7 game that one play kind of flips the script, but when he scored the first touchdown for Dumas, it was kind of like, okay, it's on now.
It was, momentum, and so when that hit, you could really just see our kids and the excitement and just it just started to really snowball a little bit after that, and we really just got to going and playing really good football.
As fun as the offense was to watch, the defense was even better. Dustin Coey was an animal.
He was.
He led the team in tackles with 9. 2 of those were for losses. He had 2 blocked punts on the same drive.
He did. Something you usually don't see, because if you block the first punt, usually that drive's over. But it went beyond the line of scrimmage. We touched it. They got the ball back. Yeah. But I think that's neat too as well to talk about. We just. A lot of times, when something like that might happen, momentum shifts and changes when you had the opportunity to get the football back and all of a sudden you're back on defense again. That was really neat for our kids to see what our kids do. We over and over in that game, just next play mentality was really good. I thought our kids just bounced back from that. Okay, it wasn't good what happened. Get back on the field, stop them again. We do. Dustin Coey flew around all night long. He was really, really special player for us. And we knew that he would. So excited about him. He's a guy that plays with a lot of energy and a lot of excitement and plays, foot on the pedal all night long. And I do. I like the way that we played on defense. I thought we talked about it on film on Saturday. A lot of white hats were to the football, yes. and that's the way that we prepare. That's something that we drill into our kids, is getting all 11 hats to the ball. And I thought our kids were flying around playing really physical on defense.
We could mention probably even more than 11 guys, because a lot of guys got to play. But your starters were really good. The defensive line had. A lot of times defensive line setting up your linebackers to make plays, but your defensive line was making plays.
They were. As you look at tackles, and there were some of our defense, I think Xavier Quiroga had 5+ tackles. I mean, any time that you can get your D-line that active and making those tackles, it's really special. And so we are a gap-sound defense, and they do have some jobs to keep guys off of our linebackers and let them play. But at the same time, if they will fit into that scheme, they're going to make plays too.
Sure.
It's gap sound, and so we don't just tell our kids, hey, I need you to take care of this and don't make plays. I mean, they need to take care of this and make plays, and so they were doing that, and that was one of our question marks as well. We brought only 1 returner on the D line back. The 2 were new guys that hadn't played those positions, and I was really proud of the way that they played. Race Thornburg played really well.
Yes.
Renee Castrojean did a great job on the inside, and so excited about our start, and I think we make sure that we understand that it's just a start, and we've got to continue to progress and get better, but really like the way that our defense played.
As good as your linebackers are, as good as the D-line played, secondary was special too. Johnny Marquez with a pick 6 and Reese Waddell with a big interception too.
We did two great turnovers, and those are really good plays by them. Reese makes a really good play there and gets a pick, and then Johnny in the second half. That's again one of our goals. Is first possession of each half. It's really, really important to us, and we didn't get it in the first half. So that was something that was talked about at halftime. Hey, this didn't happen, but it's very, very important that we come out this first series of the second half and we do what we're supposed to do defensively and get it back to our offense. And not only did we do what we were supposed supposed to do. I mean, we added
Put some points on the board.
we added points to the board, which is always good defensively. Johnny made a really good play, ran it in for a pick six, and so we were. I mean, flying around in the secondary and played really well back there.
Well, Coach, let's turn our attention to a team that's a familiar opponent. It's one we haven't played in a few years. It's going to be the 57th time that we play the Borger Bulldogs. They're an improved squad under head coach Dane Hamrick. What are you looking for out of tonight's opponent?
We got to understand that. I think that's the biggest thing. They are improved. They are not the same Borger team that we were playing, you know. And again, these guys aren't real familiar with Borger because we have not played them with these group of guys. And so I think that's a good thing. But Dane's done a great job. Dane was, the defense coordinator at Tascosa and just came in there, and you can tell the emphasis that he's put. He is a defensive guy, and you can really see that on film is that they've improved drastically on defense. I think they're playing really good football right now. They fly around and are real aggressive, and so that's understanding that and knowing that. You can't get to looking at the scoreboard. They had a loss last week, 61-13 to a really talented Bushland team. Mm-hmm. But the score doesn't show what happened in that. The first three series of that game, I mean, Borger comes out on defense and 3 and out. So they were playing really good. And then had a few turnovers, and so that game changed. But we're going to see a Borger team that's hungry, that's playing really, really well, and Coach Hammer's really got them playing well. And so we're excited about their opportunity, but we also understand that they're going to come in here really ready, and so we've got to be ready for that as well.
So starting on the defensive side of the ball, what are the Demons going to need to do tonight as they face the Borger offense?
Borger is they're multiple. They're multiple in and out. They don't run a ton of offensive formations. I think about 5 different formations they get in and out of, but multiple. I mean, from a 10 personnel to 11 personnel to 20 personnel with 2 backs in the backfield, and they're a team too that likes to establish the run game. They've got a little bit of a rotation going on right now at quarterback. I don't think they've quite decided who their guy is, and both of them have their own strengths. One of them, it looks to me like they like to pass a little bit more. The other one has the ability to really hurt people with their feet. And so we've got to be aware of that. That's one thing we've already told our kids about is understand who is in at quarterback and really what their approach is offensively, because I think it changes with each kid. But again, they've got a really talented offensive. One of their offensive linemen is a really good two-way player. Starts for him on the offensive line, starts for him on the D line. He's aggressive, and so we're gonna have to be aware of that. And I think as always, I think we're gonna have to eliminate big plays. Keep them in front of us. Be great tacklers, fly around. And I think if we'll do that, we'll be successful on defense.
Offensively, what do you think is going to be key for the Demons to move the ball, score against this Bulldog defense?
4-2-5 defense, and so I do think it's important for us to be able to to run the football. I think we're going to have to. But again, they're pretty aggressive. They are, and they're gonna stack the box at times. And then they also, they've got some secondary coverage as well where they get a little light in the box. And I think we're just gonna have to do a really good job offensively with our coaching staff and our play calling, as well as our offensive line being able to make our checks up front and see what they have in the box. And I do think we're gonna have to do both. I think we're gonna have to be able to run the football effectively, but when they get a little heavy in the box, I think we're gonna have to do a great job of being able to to back them up a little bit, and the only way to do that is to be successful in the passing game.
So how important is it for you guys week to week as you face completely different styles and teams and even strategy that these teams kind of throw against us? How important is that as you move through non-district plays? You go from like Caprock to Borger to Canadian to Plainview and Bushland, all of these different styles of teams that you're going to play and the things they're going to throw against you. How is that helping you guys as you prepare for district play?
Well, it helps you that you just got to change from game plan to game plan. I mean, that's always, we get pretty accustomed at times, when we're maybe in the spring, when we go into our football phase and we're going against each other. I mean, we're a 3-man front. We get real accustomed to being able to block that. So I think it's important, and that's what I liked about our anytime where you have a three-way in a scrimmage, you just got to shift gears.
Sure.
Shifting gears is important because the offensive line is going to make all these checks and all these calls, and being able to shift gears and being able to recognize defenses and recognize different offensive formations and different offensive and defensive schemes. It's important because we're going to see that, and as we get into the defensive race, we're going to see different teams with different defensive fronts and different ways that they attack. And us just being able to, maybe build on our toolkit. Every game that we're doing, our kids have got to put one game plan away and focus on the other one. And we're not a team where we're gonna come out the next week and we're gonna be totally different offense or totally different defensive scheme. Yeah. That's not us. We believe in what we do offensively and defensively, but there are tweaks. You do have to reach into your tool bag and be able to pull these different things. And so I think that's, as our kids, that's what we're going to challenge our kids to do from week to week. Put this game plan away, but here we've still got a system of plays that we're going to do, but here's the way we're going to approach it. Maybe a different technique or maybe a different way that we're blocking this. And just the better that we understand that, the better our football intelligence and our football IQ gets, the better we're going to be, and we're going to be able to, because when you get into the playoffs, you're going to get a team, and maybe you're on a short week of preparation.
Sure.
And so we've got to be able to just dive back into that toolkit and pull our things out and be able to execute. So I think that's the importance.
It's been fun to watch. Even it's so early in the season right now, but you've already faced all of these different schemes and really kind of had to challenge them in that way of being able to and know how to prepare quickly for each different opponent.
Without a doubt, and I like that, and I think that really goes back to who you are and what you do. Our kids know who we are. They know the offense and defensive scheme that we're trying to run. And we don't just come defensively the next week. Now we might be attacking it different. We might be lining up differently. But we've got all of these systems in place that we can. And I think that's the importance. I think your kids are able to, just to relate to that better. We don't. They go back to just certain points that they can pull from, almost like we do, in the classroom and education. It's no different. What we're doing out here on the football field is no different than kids and how they approach the math classroom. It's the same way. We've got context clues. We've got different things that we relate to and tie together in order to execute. So,
all right. Well, it is homecoming week and a lot of things going on. Excited to get to the culmination of everything, which is the game.
It is, homecoming week is exciting. It's fun for everybody. But what we've got to try to do with our football team is understand that there's a football game played on Friday night. And so I don't want the kids to miss out on the experiences and miss out on the fun.
Sure.
We just got to compartmentalize it a little bit. We got to understand, that there is a football game at the end of this deal. And so, our kids are still going to get involved in the different things that are going on, but again, we've got to keep our focus on the football game in front of us. Excited about, usually homecoming brings out a large crowd and brings back people that maybe haven't been at games, and so excited for all that. Excited for our fans to come out. Excited to fill the stands and get our community and different people maybe coming back for homecoming to watch our players. So excited about the homecoming game.
All right. Well, we're excited to get it going. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When we come back, ready for the second half of the Coaches Show.
You're watching Dumas ISD TV.
All right, welcome back. Second half of the Coaches Show. This is normally when we kind of do our little quick hits. We're gonna do what we're gonna call deep thoughts today. Okay, kind of dive into kind of behind the scenes in your mind.
Sure.
What some of the things that this program is doing. How do you feel like the values of our team reflect the spirit of this community?
I think they're tied in, hand in hand. I believe, one of the things that we talk about all the time is just relentless effort. Mm-hmm. And I think our kids see that on a daily basis in their family. They see their parents get up and go to work, and their relentless effort to make money and put food on the table, and so we're no different. I mean, we buy our values are the exact same. We expect kids to get up. We expect kids to get up early, show up every day, work hard, invest. And so I think that's one thing that I've always loved about Dumas, about this community, about the spirit of this community. We are a blue-collar community that works extremely hard. Our families work hard, and that's just always something that I've loved here. As our parents and our families work hard, they expect their kids to be worked hard as well. And so I think they tie in right with that.
Let's talk about the fans for a second. I mean, what role do you think that the fans play in this team's success?
It's huge. I mean, they create the environment on Friday nights. And so, everything from our fans to our band to our cheerleaders to everybody, that's what Friday Night Lights is about. That's what, it's not just about the game that's played on the football field. It's an entire holistic approach. A community that shows up, that gets in the stands, a community that, I've always, when I think about Friday nights, I think about, a family getting off of work and we're selling food up here. The band is running our concession stands and hey, where we get our food Friday night is we just get it at the game. Hey, let's get changed, let's load up, let's go up there, let's get something from the concession stand, support our band. Let's get in the stands, let's watch a football game, and just it's a whole environment. So never take lightly, the approach that our fans play and getting us ready, because our kids feed off of that energy. What's going on in the stands and the excitement in our student section, our band playing loud and getting our fans interactive in the game. Our kids feel it, and so it's a huge part of everything that goes on Friday nights.
I know for me, being able to kind of see things a little bit behind the scenes here on Friday afternoons as you guys are preparing, and the guys are starting to come in. You can kind of feel the excitement, at least back in this side of the stadium. And then I've got to go home to get ready to come back up here. And I normally get up here about 2 hours before the game starts. And being able to walk in even 2 hours ahead of time and kind of seeing things starting to hustle and bustle outside of the stadium, and you can kind of see in town as everybody's got their orange and black on and getting ready to head this direction to the stadium.
Yes, sir.
And then being able to watch off the back side of the top of the stadium as people start filing in, it's exciting on game nights here.
That is neat. I mean, I actually get chills, talking about that. And so it's neat. It's neat to see our students start showing up early and fighting for the first couple of rows in that student section. And so it's huge. And so I want to challenge, it's always been a special place to play, but you've always heard over and over. I've been here now 10 years, and so you hear people talking about how tough and the environment at Demon Stadium. And so I want to challenge everybody that we continue to do that, because it is a special place to play, and everybody on the outside is who makes that special.
It is. Coach, talk about the legacy that you want this team to have.
I want this team to just I want to be known for the character that we are, and not only what we put on the field, but what we display off the field. And I think that's the challenge, is that for our kids to not just be football players, but it's a lifestyle. It's a change of who we are. As we're going to challenge our kids every single day to be good football players. I mean, we do. I mean, we have to do that. But within that, we're talking about the consistency of their lifestyles, not just football players. We've got to, if we expect our kids to be on time out here, we expect our kids to be on time when they're not with us. We expect our kids to, we expect our football players to be respectful to us, we expect them to be respectful in the community as well and inside the classroom. And so that is our approach. I want our team to be known for who we are and what we do all the time, not just what we do on the football field. And so that it's a challenge. It's a challenge for our kids because I don't always know if people realize what all these kids do. But it's a choice. I mean, we've chosen to be athletes. We've chosen, in my opinion, you've chosen to live to higher standards. And so it does. It takes a commitment. But these kids are here early in the morning. They're here late at night. And then still beyond that, we're asking our kids to serve in the community. We're asking them to have servant leadership and servant hearts, which takes a lot. I mean, when you're done here, you're tired and you might be ready to go home. But honestly, hey, I'm sending out a text too. We need you to serve. We need you here. And so, but again, that's just a lifestyle. And I think if we will learn to do that at this age, we're going to continue on because that's our true calling.
Sure.
I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. And so when football is gone and our ability to play on the field, we're still going to be successful citizens, successful husbands, successful fathers because of what we learned in this football program. So that's the legacy that I want.
So how much of that goes into as you hire coaches?
Huge. I'm high character people, and if you're not going to be somebody that can live up to those standards, is not somebody that, I don't just look for people when I interview them that are great-minded people on the football field. We've got to have high character people. I want people that are that have desires to have a family. If you don't, that's not one of them. I don't have to hire people only that have families, but I want family people because this football team is a family, and I want people that have desires to have a family and live in Dumas and raise their kids in Dumas because. We're every fiber of us is invested into this community, and so hiring men of high character that are going to be able to push these values upon our kids and hold our kids to high standards and as well hold themselves to high standards because we know every single day that we're modeling what we want our kids to do.
I know as a parent, but also as somebody who's invested in this community for the past couple decades. I appreciate that as far as because a lot of these guys are going to become members of this community.
They are.
They're going to be part of the workforce, or they're going to come back here and coach. Like you've got guys on your staff right now, and so being able to instill that in those guys and understand that that's just not an investment in their lives; it's an investment in this community because those guys are going to be right back here,
sure,
as part of the support of this team. But also here in this community.
Sure. I mean, I look as far as my own family.
It's true.
My daughter just bought a house here. My daughter actually drives every day. She works in Amarillo at BSA, but she bought a house here. And so that means something because she had a choice. I mean, she had a choice of what she did with her life when she was done, and she's made a choice to buy a home in Dumas and be a part of this community. I've got a son that's living here, that's works for Dumas ISD, and so that's special. And what that means to me is that Dumas ISD and this community has done something to them. It's special to them, and they've decided to make this their home and stay here. And so I'm super thrilled about that and really excited about that.
Yes, sir. Well, stepping away from that, our burning question is going to be a little bit more personal for you. What do you remember most about playing high school football?
Relationships. The relationships that I built with my teammates. The relationships that I built with my coaches is what I remember the most. I remember team meals. A lot of times I don't remember what happened on the field. I really don't. I've got a couple of friends that, I've got my Jason Portman, one of my best friends that's athletic director and head football coach at Vega. Like he remembers still to this day every play. I don't. I don't remember every play. Maybe that's because I was knocked around or something. I don't know. But I don't remember every play. But what I do remember, I remember our team meals. I remember what we called our Mustang Moms. A neat deal that they did, and again, it's from a small community, but another thing we did is every Friday morning, the Mustang Moms rang the victory bell. And so they put that on the trailer, and they went by every kid's house up and down the streets. Now, understand, I lived 8 miles out in the country, and they drove all the way out to my house, went up our dirt road ringing that bell, and those are things I remember. I remember our team meals. I remember our teammates gathering. I remember the traditions that we did. We would meet the night before a game, and we would go over to our teammates' house. We would all shave our heads. We would all get in the hot tub. We would just prepare, and so it's just those are the things I remember. All the memories, all the relationships that we created through the game, and just the special opportunities. And then obviously one that I really remember is we played a state championship on like December the 13th, and we hadn't even Christmas shopped yet, and so the game is over and Christmas was like coming the next week. And so those are the memories that I have.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes, sir.
Well, Coach, let's talk about some of the games that are going on, some games of interest to us. A few of these games will be played on Thursday night. West Plains is playing Clint Horizon. I think they may be playing in Andrews.
I think they are. I saw that. I think they're playing
tonight, Thursday. So what do you think about the matchup between these two teams? It's just an interesting matchup. I know West Plains is probably just kind of trying to find somebody to play.
Sure. Well, I look at that. I look at I think Clint played Andrews last week. I think it was 37-7, and so. I think it's a good matchup for West Plains. I think it's a way for them to. I think they're looking back for a bounce back game, and so I'm always interested in that because it's a district opponent. But I think it's a great matchup for West Plains.
A lot of travel for them in these first 2 weeks. They went down to Seminole, and then now I think this game in Andrews.
They did a lot of traveling, and I think that's probably a little bit because of the way they've been playing. So I understand how that goes, and they're doing the same thing right now.
Big crosstown rivalry again. This one, the Thursday night game, Dick Bivens Stadium, Paladuro and Caprock, two teams that you've seen.
Sure, Paladuro coming off of a really big win. I think it was. I saw in the paper it was something like 11 years that they haven't beat Tascosa. Played a really good football team last week, and Paladuro came out on top. So they've got a lot of swagger right now.
Caprock played a good one too.
They did. Caprock played the Dumas Demons, and so I don't know. I think this is interesting. I think Paladuro right now maybe has an upper hand on them just coming off of a victory. But again, you as a coach, you've always got to look at that. Of the letdown game, coming off a big rivalry game. But I'm sure every AISD team, I'm sure has some type of rivalry matchup to it. So I think this is an interesting game as well.
This one, the next game that we're going to talk about, I think is becoming a big rivalry between these two teams. Two teams that are on our schedule that we're going to face later. Mm-hmm. I know that you guys are going to have some eyes on this one to see what happens. It's Canadian at Bushland.
Both two really, really good football programs. And two really good football teams, and so this is always interesting. It's always a really good football game, and this one won't be any different.
Sure.
We've again, they're super talented. Every year you're in question of hey, they lost these guys. Well, you don't graduate tradition. These are two football programs that traditionally are good year in and year out, and this year's no different. Canadian and Bushland are both really good football teams, and both on our schedule, and so I'm interested in seeing this. And but again, I think it's going to be a great football game played by really good players, two really really talented and really exciting communities and coaching staff. So I'm again a really good game.
Somebody wearing gold and black is going to win.
There will be, but I think it's a toss up. It's always a really hard football game.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. How about Coach Hernandez?
Awesome. Really, really excited about him. Was fired up for his win last week. Could not happen to a better man. I know the work and the effort that he's put in there. I know because I talked to him a lot, but just he was away from his family. He was trying to get a household. He was trying to buy a house. And so I just know the work that he put in. And so you always, as a coach, when you put it, because it doesn't always happen that way.
Sure.
Nothing's guaranteed. And when you put in all that work, victory's not ever guaranteed on Friday night. And so was glad to see, his hard work pay off. And so now the challenge for him is to be able to continue that because now he's got the people excited and they've got that taste in their mouth, and it's going to be expected every Friday night. And so, but again, playing a talented Dalhart team. Dalhart has really improved here. I know Dalhart's got a quarterback that's a bruiser, coach's son, and at Dalhart, and so Coach Hernandez is going to have a challenge to get his kids ready off of that really, really exciting win last week. But looks like they've got some momentum, and interested to see how this one goes. Just
a little backstory for those of you maybe watching is Perryton played Canadian last week. It was Perryton's home opener. It was a back-and-forth game. Canyon had taken the lead at the end of the game by 7, I think 44-37. Perryton came back and scored, I think, with under 30 seconds left. Decided to go for 2, which is against some type of logic. I mean, sometimes people say at home you go for the tie, go into overtime. But there was so much momentum that Perryton had. They, I think, went with like a QB sneak or some kind of QB draw or something.
I think it was supposed to maybe be a sprint out. Canyon really came upfield and contained him, and he had to cut up, and then his offensive line just grabbed him and pushed him in. So, you never know. I don't know that there's a right or wrong there. But I do like the riding the momentum wave.
Yes.
You just scored with 30 seconds, a lot of excitement. And so just ride that momentum. They think the two-point play is there, and it worked. So
man, wild. So they go to Dalhart. Next big game's your brother, which again, crazy situation last week for them. They travel all the way down to Odessa to Ratliff Stadium. The game kicks off. They return the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then I think kick off back to Odessa High, and the game gets called.
It was. I know they spent a lot more time on the bus and in the locker room than they did on the field. I think they played like 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It's all the actual playing time that they got. I think they might have sat in the locker room for 3+ hours. The travel was, 4 or 5+ hours, and so but again. I guess it's exciting that they got a touchdown 6-0, and I don't know what that looks like. I think we've talked about the rules. I mean, obviously, if it's a district game, something different, but a non-district game.
Yeah.
And so again, playing a talented San Angelo Central team that just I think they played Abilene High last week. Abilene High is really talented, ranked in the state this year. San Angelo Central's got a new coaching staff, so I think this is big. But again. I think Chad has something crazy like 7 home games, or they call them home games. It might not be a home game, but it's played at Dick Bivens.
Yeah.
And so I know they're excited. I know they're excited to get on the field and play a full game.
Yeah.
And again, going to be an interesting matchup.
Yeah, so San Angelo Central travels up to Dick Bivens Stadium on Friday, which essentially becomes sort of Amarillo High's first game.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Same thing for Brownwood. Mm-hmm. They're going to go to Wall. Their game last week against Abilene Wiley was called. I don't even know that they ever got on the field in that game. So. And so and we talk about Brownwood because they're going to be an important player in Region 1 for us, along with Stephenville and Lampasas in the other district. That's we wouldn't have to maybe face until second round of the playoffs or even the third round.
Sure.
So we'll be watching Brownwood. We're going to start talking about Stephenville in the next few coming weeks, who's number 1 in the state. They're also in our region. But Brownwood has an interesting game. They're going to play Wall, who, again, has traditionally been a really strong team.
Sure, both perennial powers in their own divisions. I mean, they have been for a long time. I mean, Brownwood and Wall are both historic programs that have seen a lot of success. Wall is a smaller team there, but I think it's going to be a really good ball game. Again, Brownwood doesn't know what they have yet. I mean, didn't get to play a game last year, and I think Brownwood's got a little bit different team as well. We saw them in 7-on-7. They're a talented football team. but they're replacing a few guys. I think they had a really star receiver, star quarterback, that maybe both way players that are not with them this year, and so they've got some new blood, some new guys. But again, Brownwood's always a really good football team, and I'm excited to see what happens here and see how them and Wall come out.
Next game, two future opponents. Plainview's kind of like doing their little march through District 2 4A as they're playing a lot of our district in their non-district schedule, which again shows the strength of our schedule. I mean, they're a 5A team that's playing down into our 4A district, but Plainview travels to Pampa, who came off a big win last week.
It's a huge game for Pampa. Pampa obviously off of a big win, but I think this is also for Pampa. I think they are naming the stadium or the field after Zach Thomas, and I think Zach Thomas is going to be in town and actually at that, and so that's neat. That's I know there's a lot of excitement in Pampa right now with Coach White coming back. A Pampa native that played for Coach Cavalier. Yes, always a big thing. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Coach Cavalier and the Cavalier family. They've always been pretty special to us, and so I know they're special to Pampa. And then Plainview's coming off of just played Randall last week, a pretty close ball game. I think a 10-point ball game, and so traveling down to Pampa, I think this is going to be a really good football game. But definitely Pampa is going to be super excited about the events that are going on and Zach Thomas being in town. And I think I talked with Darrell Wade about this, in the radio show, but. I'd definitely take Pampa if Zach's suiting up, but I don't think they're going to let Zach suit up. So.
Yeah, that place will be at the seams, busting with people there. They have a fun pregame atmosphere with the carnival type food and all that kind of stuff going on. It's going to be wild with Zach Thomas being there.
They do, and I think they've got a new video board similar to ours, and so definitely you can see some things shifting, and just I really like Coach White, and so I know he's definitely got him heading in the right direction.
Another interesting matchup between two 4A teams. Andrews in a team that we could possibly see in the playoffs. They're going to travel up to Canyon this weekend. Canyon, again, coming off that heartbreaking loss to Perryton.
This is always a tough game. I mean, this matchup has happened, I can just remember, for the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, it's always a really good game, no matter if it's in Canyon or no matter if it's at Andrews. It's always seems like it comes down to the last play. It's always a hard-fought football game, and I expect no different here. I mean, Andrews coming off a win with Clear Horizon, Canyon coming off of a disappointing loss at Perryton. So I'm interested. I'm interested to see, because Canyon's got a taste in their mouth. They've went to work and got busy, and so I'm interested. I think this is a great matchup. Interested to see how this finishes.
Randall going to make a long trip down to Monahans.
Monahan's a different team as well. I think Monahan's is they've had a really talented quarterback the last couple of years and have really done some great things with him. And I don't know. I don't know really. I didn't check who Monahan's played last week. I'm not sure. Randall, we do know Randall. We know that they return a lot on offense and defense. Got a big win against Plainview last week. I think they. If I was just reading, I think they maybe started fast and maybe didn't finish quite as strong as they wanted to. And so a great matchup, always on a long trip on the road, and so excited to see what happens here.
This next game, I think, very interesting matchup. Lubbock Estacado got a win last week. Hereford won against Lubbock High. Hereford going to travel down to Plains Capital and play Lubbock Estacado. Both of these teams, a lot of talent going to be on the field. It'd be interesting to see what happens, the outcome of this matchup.
Huge matchup, and as I'm looking at it, I always look at scores the week before. I mean, Estacado, I think, played Jim Ned in a 14-7 battle. That's something a little bit different than Estacado was the previous year. I mean, they were high scoring, and so and Hereford is a good football team. I talked about it last week about. Hereford's returning a lot of players. This is a pretty special group that they're excited about, and so I think this is going to be a great game. I mean, I have Lubbock maybe has the home field advantage a little bit there, but I I think this is going to be a really, really good game, and I'm really anxious to see how this finishes, because I think this tells a lot about, Escott has scrimmaged a few of our opponents that we've watched on film, and so you're always trying to judge and find out, where everybody's at, and I think this is a big measuring game, measuring stick game to see where both of these football teams are at.
It's fun. These non-district games, you see everybody kind of facing off. The puzzle pieces a little bit kind of start coming together,
Sure.
like opponents and matchups, and what's it like for somebody to travel on the road? How do they travel? Or how does somebody play in their own home atmosphere? And so it's fun to kind of see how all these things pan out.
It is, and I'm as guilty as everybody. You always got to be careful about looking at them and comparing scores and everything, because I think, of our own football team here, I don't think the Dumas Demons will be in week 6 who they were in week 2.
Definitely.
And I know none of these teams as well will either. I mean, everybody's preparing and getting better and working, and different matchups take their own identities, and so you got to be careful with that. But it's always interesting to just see how the teams end up, because we also too up here we're familiar with everybody, and we all. I mean, we're in the same geographic location, and so we play a lot of the same teams, and so it's always interesting to see how they play out.
Well, Coach, thanks for joining us again. Cannot wait to get out here for the home atmosphere, to see what it's going to be like. Homecoming, I mean, it's just home opener. There's a lot of things to look forward to Friday night.
There is. Excited about it. I want to encourage everybody to come out and watch the game. Very, very, anytime we can play at Demon Stadium, it's a fun environment and very special to us and our kids. And so let's pack the stands. Let's be loud, and looking forward to a great game.
We've heard it here first. Be there, be loud. Take your phone with you. You can catch it and watch the replays as they happen off the stream, and hear the play call as well. Thanks for joining us again. We'll be back. Talk to you next week.